session with the instructional session. And
applications are did it attend by
so I have to test obsession. Have you tried?
there are already lot of tests given.
So in those tests, what you have to do is, whatever module is getting over according to your modules that are being given. Like we finished the grammar portion. So module 1 and module 6 you can do. Right? So you can take all the tests based class tests based on the use that you have. Is it vocabulary you can get? You can already start taking notes. We are still on the still on the channel one. Third. It's a long thing. Good afternoon, Harini, Yasho. Worship, Soham.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Soham, are you there?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Can you have other videos on please? It would be better. So since we didn't have any class last time, now we completed the entire grammar portion, right? Yes, please. Your name please? Happy. The person? Demo lecture. Do you remember all your grammar rules? You have to remember all of it. So all we did all this time has to be applied to the grammar questions. Now, whether you do IPMAT or you do any other exam, all the rules are good. Yeah? And whatever you do right now, like if you know your grammar rules thoroughly, is what we saw from the last two batches. Anyone who did this course got a very high percentile in at least the symbiosis exam, the MSCD exam, all these they cleared very easily. Right? IPMAT का बोलोगे कि उसमें, yeah, there were few who cleared. That is a little tough because if you look at the percentage of students who clear versus the number of students who actually appear. That's very small. Competition is big, and there you have to put in a lot of it. Right? So I will share this PPT. Yeah, on the book. Do you have a name on the agreement book as yet? No. So you will go through the grammar rules. Yes. You will go through the grammar rules. I won't do them right now, but I assume you should. At least we'll test ourselves when we go on. Right? So what we will do is we will go through the now. By now, since you have done a lot of exercises, you know what type of questions come. What type of questions have you come up till now? Yes. Thank you. What type of questions? Sentence correction. What type of questions and sentence correction?
Give angle and the line to us and they replace it if it's wrong.
What else? Anybody? Get your questions clear. Error spotting. Sentence improvement. And a lot of sentences given to you for the correct sentence or for the wrong sentence, right? So what are the strategies you follow? Strategies. They have worked on some strategies. They are not there. and two, right?
Okay.
Read properly. Main thing is read properly. If you don't read properly, and read properly, first thing to read properly is instructions. So you think you have been asked to okay, what they will do is, one question is about spot the wrong sentence. 4 sentences or 5 sentences given to you as options. Spot the wrong one. Next question. In your mind, you are thinking about spot the wrong one. Next question is about spot the right one. So you have to read the instructions. If you forget to read the instructions, you mark your answer off. And then you are confused that all of them seem incorrect. Which one is wrong? But the question was for the right answer. Right? So today what we'll do is we'll do some exercises on sentence correction. I planned analogies, but I brought in my wrong template. So I thought of doing this later anyway. No problem. Okay, everyone online, let me know if you can see if the screen changes.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it's changing.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
can see this print screen.
So grammar rules mean what were the main things? I won't go into the details. Okay, can you see it is being shared? So
Yes,
we have
ma'am.
verb agreement. What was subject verb agreement? Subject should agree with the verb in number. Right? Yes. What took you so long to come up? I saw you in the corner when I was coming. What were you doing? Okay, so singular subjects, singular verbs. So what is the main thing, main strategy in the subject verb agreement questions? I expect you to remember those. What is the strategy? You have to identify the correct subject, which the verb is pointing to. Right? And what is important in that? Collective nouns are singular. If you have a prepositional phrase, like a group of boys, what is your subject? What is the subject? Group. So what will be the verb? Singular. Because group is singular. So boys will not be your subject. These are 10 things you have to remember. And the two main rules, the first subject rule and the farthest subject or the nearest subject rule. So first subject rule comes with as well as along with, besides, all these take up the first subject, whether it is singular or plural, it doesn't matter. First subject will be taken into account when the conjunctions are with as well as along with and besides. I hope you remember. What if you have correlative conjunctions? What are correlative conjunctions? Either on, either no. Which subject? Which subject will you take? If I say, neither Anita nor her friends are going or is going. Is going? Are you sure? Think. Correlative conjunctions. Subject nearest to the verb. Subject nearest to the verb. So friends is nearest to the verb. Your subject is plural. Verb will be plural. These are things you have to remember. 6 to 7 questions, grammar based, are the easiest to do. If you know your grammar rules, you can't go wrong. So the first subject rule and the furthest subject rule, right? So I think I have to go through the grammar rules. So correlative conjunctions, subject that is closest. Collective nouns and gerunds, always. Abbreviations and acronyms, usually singular, but depends upon what the acronym. Yes, please, why it's so late today? You have a record that I will not download.
Sector 5 star cannot leave from there before 12:50.
Okay, majority, very important. Majority as such will be taken as singular. The majority has, yeah. But if you say majority of, then you know, majority of, then it will take the subject. If the subject attached to majority is plural, then your verb will be plural. If your subject is singular, verb will be singular. Right? Okay, what about the number of and a number of? Do you remember? So the number of means specific, singular verb. A number of will be a plural verb, right? The number of a number, very important to remember. Abstract concepts and uncountable nouns will have singular verbs. Yes, you remember? Any example of uncountable nouns? Uncountable, which are uncountable nouns? Landscape, milk, water. Something you cannot exactly count. Right? Population. Population was big, but if you say the population is so much, then that number is countable. Population itself is abstract. Yeah. What are abstract terms? Emotions, feelings, like research. Research is abstract or not?
Yes.
The research is going on. abstract nouns. Yeah, sad, loud. To the abstract nouns. Something which doesn't come under countable or non-countable is adjective. Anything related to feelings, anything related to studies, yeah, those will be abstract. Percentages, numbers, proportions. How do you deal with these? Hmm? So if you have a number referring to a unified quantity of something, tens of thousands, what will you say? You will treat it as singular, right? So, and if you have a prepositional phrase, then as always, your subject will be the noun that is coming before the verb. Yeah? Remember these? Pronoun agreement, you remember? This is just a synopsis of whatever we've done till now. Do you remember pronoun agreement? No. Hmm? Yes, you people online. You remember pronoun agreement? So on.
No, ma'am, I was not there for this class, so
You went through
I'm
the.
doing it for the first class.
You didn't go through the portion.
No, ma'am, this class I did not, ma'am. Others I know I've done, but this, the content I don't know. So I'm going through it for the first time.
Okay, Varshit,
Ma'am,
what do you?
pronoun agreement means like the pronoun must agree with the noun in terms of plural, singular, gender.
Yeah. So any noun which, and another thing important is every pronoun should have a definite subject before it. So usually in sentence improvement questions, what do you get? They are pronouns, they are subjects, but you don't know what is referred to. Right? So that's where the confusion is. So these you remember, one and you. If the sentence begins with one, should continue. One should not run in the rain or one will get sick. Yeah, you will not say you should not run in the rain and one will get sick. So if you begin with you should continue with you. If you begin with one, continue. Yeah. Okay, what about they and it? If you have singular proper nouns, pronoun will be it. Right? If you're not referring to a gender. And if it's plural, it is they. Difference between ITS and IT apostrophe S. I hope it is in plain by now. Very important. What's the difference? My dear? ITS and IT apostrophe S. Yes, anyone wants to explain? Yes, please go ahead. You want to explain? ITS, IT apostrophe S.
One is showing possession to something. It's a possession.
Which one is showing possession? ITS is possession.
Was it refers to someone's,
Yeah, this is a problem. It is like it's the dog was when its fur was crumpled. Yeah. What is IT apostrophe S? How do you get so fast in this? It is. And this is a very important difference. It may seem very minor, but it's very important in terms of questions that you will get. A whole big sentence given to you, IT apostrophe S instead of ITS. What are the other words that are very important? It may sound silly, but very important. They can confuse you with PHANTHEN. You have to be very careful when these words come. Right? One sentence given to you, 4 options given to you. If you haven't read it carefully, you go wrong. Okay? And in an exam, with the pressure that is being built up, you are bound to overlook these. So, any time these come up, you have to be very, very careful. Similarly, we have done some more. Yeah, remember? So, what you will do over this week is go through all the lessons we have done so far. So, before we move forward, I want you to be thorough with this book. And yes, start taking your tests. So, as I told you, module 1 and module 6 tests you can take. Right? So, you look at the tests, which one is module 1, take our test of module 1, then take our test of module 6. Yeah? And do you want extra worksheets after that? I think I'll keep giving you cumulative worksheets. Yeah, so it will be grammar plus whatever we are doing, and then next set, so you won't forget what we have done. Okay, that and who refers to a person, always, right? All living being. Maybe an animal that also sometimes refers to food. That refers to inanimate, non-living organism. All these you remember? Especially I and me. When do you use I? When do you use me? Very important. I is used when if you are the subject, that is you are doing. So differentiate between a subject and an object in a sentence. How do you differentiate? Subject will be doing the action. Object receives. Yeah. So subject, whether it comes in the beginning or at the end, it will be doing the action. So I and me. You see, me did it. I did it. Right? So I will always be the subject, me will always be the object. Right? Similarly, him and his is possessor. Him will be the object. He will be subject. Right? So you will go through these. I won't go into further detail. Use of who and whom. Then who will be the subject? Whom? Object. Who did you give it to? Whom did you give the book? Who gave you the book? Right? Who is doing? Whom doesn't do? So always remember the subject. How do you differentiate between subject and object in a sentence? Subject does the work, the action, and object doesn't do the action. Right? Okay, the transitions like though, if you have though in your sentence, first part of the sentence has though. Second part of the sentence will have something like that. Right? Not is never used with unless. Two negatives don't come together. These are things which we have done. Okay, articles you remember. Okay, this also. Many is a countable. Right? Little refers to a volume. Or maybe can also refer to emotion. Something you can add to little. So what do you add to little? Something that is unprofitable. Right? Articles you remember? I'm not using the articles right. But just to remember a little bit. Or and is used for something that is general. The or that is used for specific. If you now, can you have a sentence without an article? Of course you can. Yeah. When it refers to a general thing, a general fact, you know article required. And what else did we learn about articles? Do you use articles before countries? Okay, would you say the USA? Yes. Collective nouns which form, like countries which have names which form a collective noun or compound noun. The United States of America, that is a collection of states. So the Republic of China, but not the India or the Italy. Yeah. What about oceans? Large water bodies? No. Right? Single mountain like Everest? You don't use it. You're not supposed to use it. Himalayas, collection of mountains. So, right? Continents, can use them because they are large. Some kind of a name. The Australians have continents. But you won't say it like it's a proper noun, you won't say the Asia. So there also you look at whether it is a collection or it's a collective noun or a single noun. Right? Okay, so please remember to go through the lesson. So this was important when we were doing pronouns. The noun is somewhere, the pronoun is somewhere else. Lots of things come in between. So read the whole thing carefully, mark the noun, mark the pronoun. So there's a lot of distance between noun and pronoun. Remember what the noun. Remember to identify the noun. Comparisons. Remember comparisons. Rules for comparisons. When you have when you are comparing two things, what do you use? Comparative. What are superlatives? Superlative. Example of superlative. Highest, greatest. Yeah. EST. And this was important when you are comparing two qualities of the same person. Remember an example we did? Remember anything? Two qualities of same person. See, if I say Amit is intelligent and smart, converted into a comparative. Or if I say he is very intelligent and a little less smart, what is the correct form of the sentence? Amit is more intelligent than smart. Right? So one of them will be more than the other. So two qualities of the same person, you will use more for the first one. Then we had comparison. When you use comparative, then if you're comparing something with the group, then can you compare something with a group? Say a boy with a group of boys. No. You can compare a boy with a whole group. Boy will be compared to the boys in the group. You can't say Arun runs faster than the group. Arun runs faster than the other runners in the group. So Arun is a runner, you are comparing Arun to other runners. Everything is washed away. Okay, another thing, the double comparatives or superlatives never to be used in the same sentence. Down quickly to verb tense, you know, all verbs in the sentence should be in the same tense. Right? So you have to revise the different tenses. For and since, very important. When we use for, when we use since. For a period of time, specific period. Since, when does since come in? Yes.
Point of time. That is a particular point.
From a particular point of time. Then you use since. Both refer to periods. For refers to a definite period. For I worked for 2 years on this period. I worked since 2013 for this project. Right? When you are beginning from a point of time, since. If you have a definite period of time, for. Very important difference. And okay, for general statements of fact, always use present tense. Sun rises in the east. It's a general statement of fact. The earth revolves around the sun. General statement of fact, present tense. Okay? Active and passive voices, you remember? Conversion. What are the rules? If you have active voice, that means subject is there. Passive voice, object is there. Right? So too much. We've done all these in the last how many months? 2 months. Right? Okay. So if you have to convert from active voice to passive voice, then give me an example of a sentence in active voice.
I told Arav come home by night.
I'm talking about active voice. You have gone into direct indirect speech. Active voice is when you are doing something. So, example, so that
There was a state exclusion.
the grammar person. Right? That is active voice. Now convert this into passive voice. Can you grammar portion was being taught by the teacher. Right? So when you get the subject before and the object after that, that becomes passive voice. Right? Okay. Direct indirect speech, the rules for conversion of direct to indirect speech that they were important. Okay, let's take your example.
I told Arav come home by night.
Okay. So that is what direct speech. Yeah. So in direct speech, where will the comma be? I told Arav, comma, inverted commas, come home by night. Now, if you convert this into indirect speech, what do you have to do? Convert into indirect speech. I told Arav that you remove comma, use that, and change the tense. So how do you change the tense? Go one step back. If it is in the present tense, convert to past tense. If it is in the future tense, convert to present tense. Yeah. So I told Arav that he should come home by night. Right? So conversion of direct to indirect speech is very important. So remove comma, add that. Remove inverted commas, convert into indirect speech. Go one step back in tenses. Right? And yes, change pronoun also. Like I told Arav that he should. Instead of you, it will be he. Okay, this was the last part, parallelism. Again, modifiers also. Yeah. So, modifiers are very important. You remember how to deal with modifiers? First thing is identify them. What are modifiers? And you know. So modifiers are, say, extra information describing something in a sentence. Right? So usually, when you have a modifier, it should be clear what it is talking to. Right? And if that is not clear, what do you do? Bring the noun next to the modifier. Right? The noun that the modifier is referring to should always be near the modifier. If the modifier is in the beginning and not properly placed, that is what we call dangling modifiers. So modifier in the beginning, comma, subject after that. Modifier in the middle, comma before modifier, comma after modifier, subject after this. Modifier at the end, subject before it. Right? It should be clear where the modifier is and what it is left. Okay, this is what we have done. We have done parallelism. What did we do in parallelism? Tell the structure of a sentence. What was it? David? David? What are you busy with? So what was parallelism? Quick. So if you have a list, all words in the list should be in the same form. If you are talking about nouns, all of them should be nouns. If the adjectives, all of them should be adjectives. And if you have two parts of a sentence, identify the connecting phrase, conjunction, or whatever is connecting the two parts of the sentence. So the two parts of the sentence should be in the same structure, right? And redundancy, repetition, yeah, repetition, or even like if you have a long sentence, how do we make it crisp and clear, right? So, and what is the one important rule in grammar? If you have options, both are grammatically correct, then what do you get? Two options you eliminate. You have to improve the sentence. Two options you eliminated, two options are left, both seem grammatically correct. Then go with the one that is concise. Right? Remember that? These are small strategies which are very important. Should never forget. Okay, now. So that was a synopsis of the grammar rules that we have done. You have to go into the details again, revise your grammar. Okay, so the type of questions that we come across for sentence correction. What are they? Marking the correct sentences in a paragraph, marking the incorrect sentences in a paragraph, or parts of a sentence that are correct or that are incorrect. Usually when you have an entire sentence broken up into parts, what do you have to do? Identify the incorrect part, right? Or it could be an incorrect sentence is given to you. Options are different versions of the correct sentence or incorrect versions. You have to choose the one that is correct. Or you have the correction of underlying words. Part of a sentence is underlined. You have to choose the correct version, which will make the sentence correct. Or it could be rewriting of entire sentences. Right? Entire sentences given, you have to, and we did some of those. Remember, it seemed like how do we read all of that? It's going to take so long. So you have identified what was incorrect in the sentence. What do you have to do? Eliminate the options which have not corrected those. Then whatever you are left with, analyze the sentences and get to the truth. Okay, so now dealing with these questions, what are the main things that we have to remember? First, we'll identify the kind of error. Basic. First thing you have to do, what is wrong in the sentence. Next, if you have a long sentence, a part of it is underlined, or an entire sentence you have to correct, what do you have to do? Whether you have to look for the option that brings about clarity. Especially in the modifiers, is it giving you the meaning that is intended? Right? So, when a portion is underlined, where do you get the clue from? The rest of the sentence, of course. Yeah? Context is always very important. They will always give you two options which are very close. One of them will be correct, one of them will be incorrect, obviously. Right? So you have to analyze them. IP math is all about testing your analytical skills. Not testing just whether you know grammar or not. That you've done in the test. What are they doing? Testing your analytical skills. So, so you have to look into the context. So if one of the options, so if one of the options, or if two options seem correct, what do? Analyze one. Plug it into the sentence, read the sentence carefully, see if it makes sense, or is there something missing. Remember, we did a few questions where we thought one answer was correct. Then on analyzing, we found no, that was not correct, the other one was. Right? So, this is what you need to do. And look for minute differences. One little word like then and then. They could also give you then and them. The difference is in the N and M. Right? So, they want to see whether you can identify things you are careful enough to alert enough. You can analyze, you will alert after problem solving. Rest is practice. And all this will come only with practice. So if the whole week you don't practice and come to class and say, अब क्या देखते हैं क्या मैं आपको won't work. Yes. So the volumes made, how many of those exercises are left? I think exercise 3 of each chapter is left, right? 1 and 2 सबका हो गया करना. Or some of them I haven't told you to do exercise 2, but you have to do it. Right? So the books you have, all the chapters, module 1 and module 6, make sure you at least complete exercise 1 and 2 of each chapter. Right? Then you complete exercise 3. Exercise 3 has some of the previous year's questions and some new questions. I want you to be first thorough with dealing with the questions. Small differences important. Single word of this. Yeah, that is important. So 2 answer choices with a difference in that will make a lot of, it will either be -1 or +4. Right? And you don't want to minus. And yes, this is important. Whatever answer you get, read the sentence with that answer. Right? So if you have to substitute an underlying portion, read the sentence with that portion. See whether it makes sense. And of course, elimination is the first thing you do. Do you sit and analyze and read entire sentences in the options? No. you quickly eliminate. Get down to maybe if it is easy, you get down to 1, or you get down to 2 of them, and then you analyze. You can go through this. And yes, select the more concise consultants. Always remember that. Okay? So we have done some questions. This is one first type of question is marking the correct sentences or parts of sentences. So if you have this, so you first thing you read the instructions carefully. What is it asking you to do? In the question, there are 4 sentences or parts of sentences that form a paragraph. Identify the sentences or parts that is or are correct. Right? So you have to identify the part that is correct, or maybe more than one part is. So in this question, can you do this quickly? Be carefully. Eliminate what is wrong. PMC are correct.
Fourth
Fourth one, C and D. First one. What were others? We have 2 answers, A and C and C and D. Anybody with a different answer? A and C are correct. Rainy, what's your answer?
C and D.
Yeah. Soham?
Mom, fourth C and D.
And Varshit?
Ma'am, C and D.
Yasham?
Ma'am, I feel C and D is the correct option because they are more like they go together simultaneously. Like they have more grammar, they're connected with better grammar.
Let's see. Now we have an entire sentence over here, right? The host was gracious enough as we had warmly received. We had warmly received. Is it correct? Let's see. So the host was gracious enough as we had warmly received. And he overwhelmed. Now, it should be he was overwhelmed, right? And he received us warmly, or gracious enough to receive us warmly. That would make better sense, right? Let's see. Overwhelmed with joy whenever anything big or small demanded by our children, big or small demanded by our children. Is it correct? Right? The entire host family left no stone unturned to fulfill our desires, and we began to consider ourselves as if we had belonged to some great family. Right? So now A is incorrect, B is incorrect, right? C is correct. D, if you see, as if we had belonged, it's correct, right? As if we go royalty or we had belonged to some great royalty. Belonged to and had belonged, we're talking about the past. Yeah, we belong would have been better. But see, another thing remember in the sentences that you get, what you are thinking may not be exactly what is it. So what you have to do is go with the best possible. So clearly here A and B are in. And what do we have to pick? The correct option. So C and D will be. So those of you who said A and C, how did you think A was correct? The host was gracious enough as we had warmly received. We warmly received whom? We had been warmly received would still be better. We had warmly received. And then and he, if you continue, overwhelmed with joy. He was overwhelmed with joy. So was into the next sentence. Was can be in this or next. Any of them? The A1 is correct, completely correct, and B was if everything else was correct and B was wrong, B or A and B both are right? So these are not one big sentence and small parts, but a long sentence broken up into parts. So you have to be able to figure out what is wrong in each of the parts, right? Now, this question is about detailed instruction, incorrect sentence or incorrect part. So, what would be incorrect? So your options are A and C, B and D, C or D and C. Yes. A and C. So what's wrong in A?
That falls to economic condition. Condition is not the general form. We need to observe before.
It would have been better for the improvement of the socio-economic condition of our country.
But like we make the sentence be.
So you can add the either at the end of A or in the beginning of B. So if you pick B, then is D incorrect?
I think
C opted for some other form of government and the economic system. Do you need the for economic system?
and because we is about
So opted for some other form of government and economic system. Right? So we don't need the verb. Now, if we look at B, we can say the socio-economic condition of a country. Right? So in that case, what is our answer? Yes. Right? We have to analyze each part of the sentence, use all your knowledge. Usually they are very difficult, easy to spot. Now you don't have to remember, is it subject verb agreement, you know what subject verb. Apply. Right?
Ma'am,
Yes, Amy?
ma'am, if there would have been an option of B and C, then what would have been the answer?
Huh?
And how did we decide that the missing the was a part of A and not B? Because of the options, right?
Now, is your C option, your C option is incorrectly identified, right? Now, do you have any option which says B and C?
No, ma'am, I'm asking if there would have been B and C, then how
Then
would
you
we
could
choose
have
if it's
gone
A and
with
C?
B and C. So, see, there will be always be only one correct answer given to you. In the options, there will always be only one correct answer, right? So in this case, since you have, you don't have B and C as an option, and we know D is correct, so we can go with A and C because we can add the to A. Right? You have to see what option. Okay, this is underlying clause. So in an underlying clause, what do you have to identify? The words, it could be tenses, it could be parts of speech, it could be any other grammatical error, or it could be modifier, right? Or parallelism, anything. Let's look at this question. Almost the entire sentence is simple. So read carefully, and first thing, figure out if there is any error. So what type of error do you see? Is there clarity in the sentence? So the judges finally distributed the awards among the most active children, talking at length among themselves. Now, if you look at this part, talking at length among themselves, the children were talking, the judges were talking. That's not true. There's no modifier error. So, what will be the correct one? The judges. So, why will you eliminate A? Talking as well. A is the same as what is given, right? So, eliminate it. B, the judges finally received the first talking at length among themselves. The rest of it is missing. Judges talking at length among themselves finally distributed the awards among the most active children. Does this make sense? Or D, the judges distributed. Who said D was correct? C, yeah. D, the judges distributed finally talking at length. So C corrects. Judges talking at length among themselves distributed the awards among the most active. Right? So now it is clear who was talking. Right? Now this is the sentence improvement question where an entire sentence has to be rewritten. So usually the first option is what is given to you. So the directions will be something like this. Below is given a sentence which is followed by 4 options. If you think there is no error on the first one, choose A. Else choose the most appropriate option in accordance with the rules of standard. Right? So usually you will find long sentences. But don't get intimidated. They are so. So first thing you do is mark all the errors. So as we read along, what are the errors? I have been ill for fortnight and the management as well as. So remember, as well as should ring a bell. The school sports committee prefer, does it work? To select me, to elect me the captain of school team. Initially, I thought that it was only in a fun, but I was wrong. So what are the errors now? I have been ill for fortnight. What should it be? I have been ill for a fortnight, or I had been ill for the fortnight.
I have.
Had been or had been, both can be there, right? Now the management as well as the school sports committee prefer to elect me. Is that correct? We are looking at this question. So whenever you get a wrong sentence, what do you do? Break it up into smaller parts. So what is the next part? The management and the school committee prefer to elect me. Anything wrong in this? No? Read carefully.
Because.
So what are two nouns here? The management. Now we have as well as. As well as means which subject rules the verb. Nearest subject rule. No, sorry, the father's subject rule. As well as father's subject rule. The management and the committee. Two subjects. Now if you look at this, both are singular. Anyway, both are singular. Right? Management is singular. Verb will be. Father subject is management. Singular. Verb should be singular. Yes or no? Who's confused? Anyone confused with this? So verb should be prefers. Right? And initially I thought that it was only in a fun. Oh, no. So what if you look in the options? Something that corrects all these. So first option eliminated, right? Second option, I had been here for the fortnight. That's it, right? Next thing, management as well as the school sports committee prefer. Not correct. Eliminated. Third one, I have been ill for a fortnight. Correct? Management as well as the school sports committee prefers. Correct? To elect me captain of school team. Initially, I thought that it was only in fun, but I was wrong. This is also corrected. So C can be an option. We still look at B. I was ill for fortnight. Not correct. Preferred tense and open. No. So only correct option is C. Right? So what do you do? Break the sentence into parts. Look at the error in each part. Very important grammar rule. Father's subject. As well as It will not be present. If you had and instead of as well as, then what will your verb be? Two subjects joined by and, verb will be plural. Both of them want me to do something, right? So the management and the school sports committee differ.
Now, given if both and singular and right and
Good. In two subjects joined by and, verb will be plural. Two subjects joined with as well as, besides, along with first subject plural. Whether the first subject is singular or plural, accordingly, the verb will be singular. Yeah? Never forget this. So, answer here is C, right? But let's look at this. You have a portion underlined for you, and you have to correct. So, what is wrong in the sentence? What's there? Is it, right? Why? Because we have a long wait. We come back to the part of something. Right? So the president of Costa Rica along with two presidents. This is plural. The first part is singular. So your verb should be singular. So is elected. What else? For a 4-year term by the people. A 4-year term is correct. A 4-year term. 4-year term is a compound subject. It should be single. Hyphenated subjects. Hyphenated subjects are single. Right? So are eliminated, are eliminated, are is eliminated. Two options with is, you have to select the correct one. Is eliminated, we have are. E. Yeah, so we now first thing we see is are is corrected or not. So we eliminate all of them which is not correct. Then is selected for a 4-year term, correct? Is elected for 4-year terms. No. Okay, so let's see. Right? So even without reading the entire option, anything which is R, we can do. Okay. Then let's look at this question. Yes, the question is on the screen. Hello? Question is on the screen. So, what type of error do you see? What is wrong with the sentence? Anything wrong?
So extinct. It's not the biologist of extinct. It's the new capital. So it's the E option.
So we need to correct. So previously thought to have been extinct. Here we need the gecko coming. Right? So this is a modified error. So we discovered the team of biologists, a team in 1949 team and discovered by a team of biologists easily. Do we read the entire options? A, B, C, D. Do we have to read the entire option? We don't. But we know this is the error and it hasn't been correct. Right? Let's look at this one. Underlying portion. So what kind of error would be in this sentence?
Compensating. Compensating for the
Why not? This is a parallel structure. What should be in parallel structure? So break down the sentence into parts. First thing, first part, the federal legislation establishing a fund for cleanup of sites damaged by toxic chemicals permits what? Yeah, permits state governments for damage to their natural resources, but does not allow claims for injury to people. Right? So we have compensating permits, uh, permits compensating state governments does, but this is your connector, does not allow claims for injury to people. So if you have to have in the same parallel structure, what do you answer? So what do you eliminate? A is eliminated.
but even damaging is incorrect, so we can eliminate B, C, and
Compensating state governments for the damaging, the state. So B is eliminated, C is eliminated. Giving compensation to state governments for the damage, or the giving of compensation to state governments for damage. For damaging to is again incorrect. So only option remaining is D. Now, if you are confused or you are not sure, what do? Usually, these type of questions, there will be only one correct answer. So even if you don't know what the correct form is, you can easily eliminate what's wrong. Whatever is left, you can answer. Right? So D will be your correct answer. Now what do? You plug it back into the sentence and read the sentence again. So federal legislation establishing a fund for cleaning up of sites damaged by toxic chemicals permits giving compensation to the state governments for the damage of their natural resources, but does not allow claims for injury to people. Now it seems correct. Okay? No problem here. So the another one with the underline. That is. If you have broken up into parts, what do you see? This seem correct. Worship, does it seem correct? Or can we improve the sentence? Yes? Really?
Option E.
And we can remove that sentence because it's just extra information.
Sorry, Worship, I couldn't get what you're saying.
Ma'am, the sentence makes sense even without it.
Without?
Without the underlined part.
I also agree with that because it doesn't feel necessary to add it to the sentence.
So that means it is a modifier or an unnecessary clause that is added, extra information, right? So as we have it, it says many of today's mathematicians use computers to test cases that are either too time consuming or involve too many variables to test manually, allowing the exploration of theoretical issues that were impossible to test a generation ago. Now, what they use computers to do what? Either they use computers to test cases that are either too time consuming or involve too many variables to test manually. So, if we remove this portion, will the sentence still have the same meaning? Question?
No, ma'am, it would change a bit.
Yeah, it won't have the same meaning. But this is important. It's telling you why they are using the computers. And then they go on to allowing the exploration of theoretical issues. So now, in this, can we identify what is wrong?
And when do we use the sentence?
Given it in the conclusion lesson. Semicolon is used when both sides of the sentence have independent words. Right? And instead of full stop, you can use a semicolon when the ideas are connected and independent.
And they can be used as derivatives. They can be used as derivatives.
Dependent clauses means that you can separate them into individual sentences. They are complete sentences. Right? Okay, so here what do we have? If you have broken up, they use computers to test cases that are either too time consuming or involve too many variables to test manually, allowing the exploration of. So, will you say allowing the exploration? It's not in the same. So, any long sentence when you have and the entire portion is underlined, what you test it? Number one, modifier. Number one is done. Yeah. Number two, modifier. Number three, balance. Right? So in this case, we have a parallel structure. Okay? And to allow the exploration to happen. So we added it. Now if you look at B, either take too much time or involve too many variables to be tested manually, they use a semicolon allowing the mathematicians to explore. You need a semicolon over here. So if you put a semicolon here, the next part of the sentence should be an independent clause. Is it an independent clause? No. Right? So D is eliminated. So these minor things, like a semicolon, also makes a lot of difference. Right? If you look at C, would either take too much time or involve too many variables to test manually, allowing them to explore. Allowing them to explore instead of allowing exploration, puts it into a parallel structure. Right? What do we have? Two test cases, too many variables to test manually, allowing them to explore. Is if you look at D, would either be too time consuming or would involve too many variables to test manually. This capability allows the mathematicians to explore theoretical issues that were impossible to generate. It's taking it to a different level, right? Adding extra information if you don't. And besides also using a semicolon. Okay, E, take too much time for all variables to test manually. This capability allows the mathematicians to explore, again we don't need the semicolon. So C is taking care of the times. Right? Now these questions you have to do first. How do you do it first? Identify the error. Look at the options which have the same error or additional error. Eliminate. You're left with your right answer. Okay. So we'll do some more questions quickly. First, read the directions. What are you supposed to do? Correct sentences. So, what are you going to eliminate? Anything that is wrong. So, you have four options. Is A correct? A correct. First one.
The last part is the past.
Yes. False. So, ITS apostrophe. Incorrect. Huh? It's trying to winding up. Why not? So anyway, the moment you see ITS apostrophe, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, you don't even have to read the rest. A great many various that wasn't a very fair thing to say. That's so D is the only one that's. So do we need to read the entire sentences to eliminate? Not really. They are eliminate fast. So how much time do you devote to a grammar question? 50 seconds. Yeah. Maximum if it is an entire portion underlined and you have to figure out the whole thing, then 45 seconds. Why? Right. 30 seconds later, you have to finish a grammar question to save up time for the comprehension and other difficulties. Right? Okay, what about this? Identify the correct sentence. So here what do we have? She has a fair chance of winning the first prize. Now you see, yeah, another thing is the word fair. She has a fair chance of winning. Seems to be correct. Fair weather is forecasted for tomorrow. There is a fair weather forecast for tomorrow. There's a fair on at the park. This very week. Don't forget to wind down your watch. Do you wind down your watch? Wind up your watch. Wind up your watch. So these are related. C is related. A is supposed to be correct. Okay. What about this? You have to identify the correct sentence. What is element? So first eliminate what is wrong. Then you analyze what is right. Right? So anything that we know is definitely wrong. Huh? A is A correct? I don't like recording music, I prefer the real thing. These items are the genuine articles. The genuine articles are genuine. You can give a wide summary. Wide summary. Can a summary be wide? You're talking about a summary. A summary should be concise. Summary can't be wide. Right? You can describe something in minute detail. Minute detail, describe something. Can be. Grammatically, is it correct? Okay, in A, you don't use only comma. You use a comma with the conjunction. So it should be, I don't like recorded music, but I prefer the real. Then it could. Semicolon, I don't like recorded music is independent. I prefer the real thing is independent. Semicolon will. Only comma. Right? So our only option remaining is you can describe something in mind. Yeah? So D only is not an option here. So about these items are the genuine articles. Could be because you're talking about something specific. B can be. So we can take B and B as. Right? Huh? So if you read B, these items are the genuine article. That is, you are saying that these are the articles which are genuine, specific. You are stressing something that is specific. Then you can use the, right?
Or because in the option, the will be option
And-
in
Yeah, besides either all of them are incorrect, or we can go with clearly. Because
C is not incorrect, right?
B is not incorrect. For sure. Okay, clear about this? Any doubt? No? Okay, now here what do you have to do? You have to identify the incorrect sentence. So what do you eliminate? Anything that is correct, you eliminate. Right? So read carefully, there could be minor errors. What are the sentences that so what is wrong in A? What's wrong in A?
It will not be yes, it's right. Yes.
This is wrong. Tokyo, second class is. Yeah, that's right. So
Also, the comma is wrong.
Comma is correct here. Because after the comma, what do we have? Tokyo concern. Okay. You have Tokyo, comma, concerned that the gas field on, suppose it was its side of the boundary, might be exhausted. Send a survey team to the area in July. What is, you have two commas. Two commas are separating a modifier. Right? If you have two commas in a sentence, what do you look for? What is the extra information inside? Is it a modifier? So two commas is correct. Only the problem is with the A's. Okay, is B correct, Harini?
Yes, ma'am. I think the answer will be only A.
Okay. So A clearly is incorrect. So we have only A. Okay, now you said, okay, let's look at B first. Japan's gas reserves are projected at 200 billion liters of commercially viable. Anything wrong in this? No. So this is correct. Beijing proposed in June that the gas field be jointly developed, but Tokyo has not responded, reportedly because the extent of the Chinese research is unknown, and out of concern that the issue might inflame tensions between China and Taiwan. So, anything wrong in B? Oh, sorry, in C. That's correct. Anyway, if you look at the options, no option talks about C. That should be correct. Okay, D, we have put here D. Further to the east, PetroChina has been given the green light to begin drilling for gas near the Maxia. A strategic area contested by Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and the Philippines. Anything wrong in B? Defining is there in B? No.
I we can replace by with those petrol channel present, but we have not mentioned that
Contested.
with the
How do you say contested with? This is contested by these countries. That is, they are putting up a context. So it is contested by. Yeah. So D is also correct. Only so our answer will be A only. Right? Okay. Now let's look at this. If you remember what we did, a part of all is underlined, you have to choose the best possible option. First thing, identify the error. What is the error first thing? In the given sentence, the matter was referred back to the expert committee since the solution to the problem was different from the one proposed earlier.
that is what it's like effort.
Referred back. We will not use facts. Only refer. Right? Any other error? Rest of it seems to be okay.
Yes.
So we eliminate the referred back, referred back, referred back. Right? Now we have D and D eliminated. Refer to the extent expert committee since the solution to the problem was different from the one proposed earlier. Refer to the committee since the solution. So it doesn't talk about expert committee. Or since the solution to the problem was different than. We don't say different than, we say different from. So our answer will be right. Everyone got this? One is okay. Finally, a short answer. So what's wrong with the sentence? Okay, let's see this before. Yashu, Yashu, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
So what's wrong in the sentence? Does it give clarity?
Completing the physical examination. Oh, yes, ma'am. It does give clarity. Like we can tell that after completing the physical examination, the tonsils were found to be diseases.
Okay, if you read the sentence as it is.
Completing the physical examination, the tonsils were found to be deceased.
Did the tonsils complete the examination?
Ma'am, it should be D.
Mhm.
The physical examination completed, the tonsils were found to be deceased.
That makes little sense. It is query. So if you substitute B for in the sentence, having completed the physical examination, the tonsils, yeah, error remains. So the only one which will, okay. Now, if you look at C, when the physical examination was completed, and D will have the physical examination completed, the tonsils work. Does B bring out clarity? What brings out best clarity? C brings out best clarity. So there is no confusion about the tonsils doing the physical examination. Yeah? When the physical examination was completed, the tonsils were found to be visible. This will be the correct answer. So if you look at the sentences, they're very close. Yeah? And we can easily get misled. So what do we have to do? We know the problem is with clarity. So read the answer, read the sentence with the answer you have given. See if that if the problem of clarity has been resolved. Okay. Let's go on to another question. Okay, this is about the entire sentence. So what is the problem in the sentence?
We can use either or cell.
We can use either cell. That, nothing else. It says a price. So you said there is a problem with cell either and a price or quality of workmanship. So we have a parallel structure for here. Yeah. So Harini, what will be your answer?
A.
So what is the answer? B.
No, ma'am, either will come before B.
Hmm?
B, either will come before cell, right?
I don't will come before cell. So you have only one option where either comes before cell. Yeah. So read the sentence and see if it is correct.
Ma'am, cell will come before either, right, ma'am? Ma'am, because if it would have been either cell or bias, means it should have been between cell or something else, any other action or verb, ma'am. But here we are talking only about cell. So it's cell either on a price or quality of workmanship basis. Ma'am, but the selling part remains the same, right? So how can we talk, how can we say either cell?
Options, price and quality. Either price or quality. Right?
So the choice is between price or quality of workmanship basis, not
So
between cell.
can we use say, either before cell?
No, ma'am, that's what I'm saying, ma'am. Cell should come before either.
Cell should come before either. So ideally it should be the smaller firms in any industry sell either on a price or quality of workmanship.
I'm sure, ma'am. So option A is only correct, right?
Option A, it has cell either, but it doesn't have a panel structure on a price or a quality. That's what we need. So which of the options has that? Now B says cell either. Small firms, C says small firms in any industry sell on Now here we have on, sell on what? Yeah. Either a price or a quality of workmanship basis. So this is correct. The small firms in an industry sell on either a price or on a quality. Now sell on either, right? A price, or do we need all of the all? We don't need all, right? Now E says the smaller firms of any industry sell off. So E is eliminated, E is eliminated, B is eliminated, A is eliminated. What is left with C? Yeah. The smaller firms in the industry sell on either a price or a quality. Right? It's clear now? So it brings about clarity to the sentence.
Ma'am,
Not disturbed. Yes?
Ma'am, if there would have been an option, the smaller firms in an industry sell either on a price or on a quality of workmanship basis, ma'am. So on comes before a price and on comes also before a quality of workmanship basis. Ma'am, would that have been grammatically wrong?
Either sell on a price or on a quality or workmanship basis, then it would be. But that isn't available, so we will go with C, which has on referring
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm just saying if it would have been there, ma'am, would that have been
if
wrong?
it would have been there, it would be correct. Then perhaps C would be have been something else.
All right, understood. Got it. So, ma'am, on should come. Would have come either before both, or should have come at once before either. Right? Okay, understood. Got it.
Seconds. Sorry again. Can you finish with one question? Yeah. It is not only a cut in jobs and prices, but also to put it back into the sentence and read the sentence with this. Okay. Not only to cut jobs. Okay, let's read it. Let's see. The current economic conditions demand not only to cut jobs and prices, but also reduce. Does it make sense? Now, one thing you have to remember, if you have not only, it should be followed by but also. Right? Not only but also should come.
But to reduce it incorrect.
Huh? To reduce, does it fit into the entire sentence? Not only okay, current economic conditions demand not only a cut in jobs and prices, but also to reduce the rate, it should be or reduction in the rate. It's not in parallel structure if you use two. Right? If you are saying not only a cut in jobs, then it should be but also a reduction in the rate of increase. If you said not only two cut jobs, then you could use but also two variables.
Ma'am, so the answer should be A because
So,
if we
yeah. So if you look at the other options, all of them are equal. Right? So A as it is correct. Right? Got it? Are you confused? So but only, not only, but also should come together. They are not only in one part of the sentence, it should be but also in the other. Or eliminate both the things. Now here the options that have eliminated both the things, are there any options that have eliminated? All of them have not good. They have that also, but two leads to unparalleled structure. Right? Not only cutting is incorrect. Yeah? So only is. Okay. Yes? Okay, so that's it for now. So I'll share this PPT. You will do the rest of the questions that are given here. And you will write your doubts. And you go into the tests on the website. Pick up the ones which belong to module 1. Complete them. Pick up the ones which belong to module 6. So you can do at least 2 to 3 tests in a week. So see, if you don't do the test now, it will be a big backlog. Yes, everybody online, Harini? Have you looked into the tests?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you do any?
I was going to do it today, ma'am.
Please do them. So, and see, the grammar portion is over. Now we will be doing the other topics. Yeah. So within this week, complete as many of this as possible. So next week when we come to a new topic, you can start with the test computer. Okay?
next week we don't have
Next week class here.
a class.
Extra class है
Second, mistake.
what? You want extra class? Who doesn't want extra class? Very good. Good to be lazy. Very good to be lazy. That's fine. If we can utilize the time and finish up the question faster now, you get much time. And then you get more time to concentrate on the books. Right? नहीं तो जनवरी का क्लास चलता रहेगा when study करेगा. You are in this class? So all good today? Are you minded? Helpful? Want to join? Okay, everybody. Remember to do at least 3 tests. Right? So you do the test, and one thing you have to do. The moment you do a test, write your doubts. You have a question, I have a doubt, I don't know. And where do you put your doubts? We have a good. Your IPM wala group means the other group that we have created, write your doubt in that. See, the thing is that maybe you may have a doubt in one question, solve it. Somebody else has a doubt in the same question. Now, but next time you come to a similar question, you are stuck. Why? You will solve your doubt. Yeah? So we can learn from each other's doubts also. So make sure, and I want at least 3 to 4 doubts from a year. If you don't put up your doubts, means the market, you got your answer, and maybe even if you got it right, you haven't learned it. Right? So put up your answers. If you have any doubts, you got a wrong answer. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.